There we go. Great. Okay, Friday, December 20th. This is the 73rd Kwaai Day meeting. I'm losing count. Okay. And we'll wait a few more minutes till we get a quorum of participants. But it looks like we've got our guest speaker online already, and we can see people rolling in. Thanks so much. Myra, is it really the 73rd Kwaai Day? Let's see if we can get Myra and make her a co-host.
Is this better, by the way?
There she is. There's Myra. Just
Yes.
joined.
Hey,
It's much better.
hey, welcome. Hi, Reza. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are you doing? Is it
Very
really the 73rd Kwaai Day?
I want 72nd or 72nd, I want to say. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, fantastic. I'm going to make you a co-host so you can MC. Thanks, everybody. Friday, December 20th, Kwaai Day. Happy Kwaai Day. We've got Faye Arjamandi as our guest speaker. Welcome, Faye. We've got a quorum of participants, and there's still people rolling in. So we'll get underway with the agenda. We'll start with talking to Faye. And Faye, do you have a presentation, or shall we make this just an interview session?
I have a presentation. I'd be happy to make it interview session. However you guys would like to run it, I'm here for you. And
Fantastic.
hopefully the material that I've prepared is sufficient. But if interview is better, let's go with interview.
Okay. No. We like to have content. We like to have content that's relevant for the organization, for our movement. So just by way of introduction, Kwaai is a movement that's now celebrated its anniversary, at least the anniversary of the 501c3. It's about a year and a half old. We incorporated at the end of 2023. We're now coming to the end of 2024, and we're prepping our annual report. I'm gonna finalize that over the weekend, and we've just concluded our officer elections. I'll tell you more about that afterwards. But why don't we kick off? Myra, why don't you tell us something about what you've researched about Faye?
Well, obviously, the first thing that comes up is CEO and founder of Mimic. I was browsing through a lot of the things that you've put out there, and I'd love to know more about that organization and what your vision is, especially when it comes to keeping it at the edge. And, that aligns with a lot of what we at Kwaai want to do as well. So
absolutely. So would you like me to do a presentation, or you want?
Yes, I think that'll be great. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, and
sure.
You have share privileges.
All right, there you go. So thank you for having me. As you mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Mimic, background in technology and commercialization. And passion is about changing the course of technology from monopolization to more distributed and creating an ecosystem, digital ecosystem that is fair and equitable for us. Now, what Mimic is doing is about operationalizing agentic solutions. This is what I call the fifth element of AI, practically how to bring the solutions together. From the way that we see the world, our physical world is converging with this digital extension. And this is almost like the mirror image of the physical world that we're facing. And this is going to be more about breaking the silos and vertical solutions to more horizontal systems that behave like human beings. That's where Mimic is coming from, mimicking the human behavior. And Mimic is really at the convergence of the physical and digital world. We see that we're moving from 5.47 million applications that today exist over the app stores to billions of AI agents and workloads that practically are going to be operating our physical world via the digital extension. This is a gargantuan, practically market opportunity now is being projected to be $15.7 trillion market by 2030. To put it into the context and comparison, cloud by itself is about $440 billion market by 2032. So the overall AI agent and agentic economy and agentic solutions by orders of magnitude larger and is $15.7 trillion market. And I believe that this is where anyone can practically participate with their own data and set of agents that they could introduce, like a marketplace of individuals, of agents and capabilities that now you can have. And when the prompt comes into the system, the agents can discover each other, work with each other, collaborate, drive to an outcome. And then every participant in that chain can benefit from that economy that is derived. Today, what is happening is that we hear a lot about AI agents, AI services, but this kind of reminds me of where we were in the web transition to the mobile internet transition. The first set of solutions that was introduced in the web, the mobile internet, was let's grab a web page and shrink it and put it on the phone. And very soon people realize that the infrastructures need to be changed. The structure of those web need to move to mobile native app. So kind of everything changed as soon as the first set of web to shrinking web to the browser to fit the mobile device happened. And that's where we think we are. Right now, a lot of new solutions getting introduced on the old infrastructure with the old method of the cloud architecture. And that's where we need to shift and rethink what are the enablers and infrastructures that we need to have. That's where Mimic comes to picture, because it's almost like a new compute paradigm, thinking about new compute paradigm with the view of where the workload need to run and how the workloads need to process data and how the workloads need to discover and collaborate with each other. And the reason it's part of the new compute paradigm is because if you look at it, the applications that were developed first on mainframe, then it became desktop application, then it became client server. After client server was virtual machine virtualizations that was introduced in how to virtualize backend software services that can run on across different compute. Then was the cloud paradigm to operationalize app economy, app solutions where the client app are sitting on the endpoint devices and the workload for those client apps are running on cloud services. But now the agentic clouds is starting, the agentic solution is starting, where think of it as native apps are now a collapse or a collection of microservices and workload that could run on any computing device and discover and communicate with each other and with any cloud. And that's really what the world that we see. Why is this the fifth element of AI? It's about operationalizing agentic solutions. And what it means is that agents must be able to dynamically operate on any device. So agents, workload, microservices should be able to dynamically operate on any endpoint compute or any compute. But the key is where the data source is. So instead of sending data to workload, bring workload to data source. And that's part of offline first, and the impact is massive energy efficiency. Then they should be able to discover each other. And on local networks, even if I don't have connectivity to cloud or internet to cloud, they should be able to communicate with each other and discover with each other. This is not limited to local networks, but when you are in home, in factory, in warehouse, in university campuses, you should be able to have these workloads, be able to communicate with each other without internet connectivity, necessity to internet connectivity. That's also part of offline first. Workloads must be able to interact with each other. This is API first interoperability. Workloads need to collaborate with each other dynamically. This is where we say context-aware choreography versus central orchestration. So in a way, based on the context of where am I, who am I serving, a reference to reality, be able to identify who the next part, who the next workload is that we need to dynamically choreograph to do an outcome versus pre-prescribing every physical potential event in cloud that leads to orchestration. So choreography is the element, and context is the reference to reality that is part of this operationalizing agentic solution. Adhere to data privacy. At any moment, workload based on the context and the role and the responsibility, the region, am I serving this for Faye individually? Am I serving this for Faye's home? Am I serving this for global warming? That who am I serving, where am I serving, what I should do is adherence to the data privacy. So each workload dynamically should be able to adhere to data privacy and be context-aware privacy first type of a model. They need to be able, sorry, this is redundant, the next one, I forgot to mention, remove it. And then everything need to work based on zero trust, zero touch configuration, and work with any cloud. So these are the principles of operationalizing agentic solutions the way we see it, and the fifth element of AI. And one major item that I did not mention here is participation in data as a currency. So therefore, in order to operationalize these agentic solutions, we need to move from central to a more distributed model, to an ability to create cloud-native operating environment, and that's what Mimic has done, to any computing node. So have a cloud-native operating environment that can enable this workload operationalized at every computing device where the data source is. And this unlocks a multi-dimensional business model. I mean, on the simplest way, think about every revenue model that we had in cloud, from infrastructure as a service to platform as a service to software as a service business model, now can expand to every computing device with open, multi-layer, multi-dimensional business opportunity. Well, and that's where the future is about compute and quality of data as the crucial currency for the future. And that's where the role of data producers and compute providers becomes so important, which means that I, as Faye, can participate in this economy with my data as a currency in order to derive a decision, and also even with my compute, including enterprises that imagine when an enterprise is not in the operation mode, they can participate in the economy with the compute that is sitting on their enterprise side. Why is this also important in terms of energy and cost? This is part of a white paper that is going to be published. It's very recent that my co-founder and executive chairman, Siavash Alamuti, has recently wrote and did an analysis there. And basically, when you look at doing all these billions of agents from cloud point of view versus distributed model point of view, we call it HEC, hybrid edge cloud, you see that based on certain assumptions, like traditional workloads have 2.4 gigabytes per day of workload data size for traditional, per smart device. Agentic workloads, assuming that they have 20 gigabytes per day of consumption, reflecting on the AI workload, and the energy assumption that we have for transmission of data, processing data on cloud, sending data to workload. Very quickly, you realize that the savings could be trillions of dollars when you have billions of devices and billions of workloads operating this digital economy. We will publish the white paper in the next few weeks, and there are lots of mathematical model and calculation behind this that proves that we better go to the endpoint device operation versus keeping everything central. Mimic AI, we are a native operating environment that we're providing. Software only, it resides on any computing device on top of any operating system, plus a series of tools, utility for example, pushing your AI model to device and expose it as a microservice with API, knowledge-based database where you can put the content and create embedding and turn it into a vector-based search, AI chain, which is a RAG implementation, and Insight is another service. This is what we provide, but it's designed for developers to utilize this and start developing their workload and microservices that can run across any computing devices. This is just a simple description of what Mimic is providing. It's a lot more sophisticated technology behind the scene, and we are focused across three different sectors of right now: automotive, AI, and intelligent space. And we have some, but our long tail is really about developer community and collaborating with developer community that we can work on building new solutions in this market. In the simplest view, today you develop your client application, you hit the APIs in cloud and go to the workload in cloud. With Mimic AI, you can start developing either your front-end application in form of microservices, or even bring some of the traditional global function microservice to the device. And therefore, when the application calls the API gateway, it can go to a local microservice on the same device, a microservice on another device, or a microservice to any cloud provider. So that's really in a nutshell how it looks like. Giving you a quick example of prompt-based solution, I often say recently that imagine you open a refrigerator door and that generates a prompt, or imagine you have a flat tire on the street and that generates a prompt. And that prompt goes to an AI chain sitting on top of MIM-OE, which is the cloud native operating environment that we provide. It goes to a configuration file on the same device. So imagine my car, and in order to identify how to access knowledge about flat tire, what are the security parameters to access, which data set it needs to look for, and where are those information? Are they local? Are they in cloud? Are they in another device? And based on that, the AI chain can ask the information from MIM-OE and then initiate a set of activities. Go to knowledge-based database, find the information about Toyota Corolla flat tire. Then go to the sensor information of the car and get information about what are the different pressures of different flat tire, of different tires, and what it should be. Then it evokes a collection of activities, including going to, for example, Gemini 2 billion parameter on the same device to get AI model information, communicate with the smart city camera about certain information. So discovering the camera in the smart city situation, and then go to cloud, different cloud provider based on what this prompt is in order to derive an outcome, and finally send a response back. So this AI chain is more like a coordinator, and per scenario, you could have different coordination. Imagine an AI chain, in fact, deploying another AI chain to invoke another collection. So a dynamic systems that we call it systems that shrink and expand based on the context, based on an event, and almost like a shape-shifter systems. And at every point of these transactions between different workloads, you could have what we refer to as knowledge as a service revenue model and business model versus software as a service business model. And depending on what that knowledge is and what that workload and what that workflow is, again, different parties or different agents can enter different type of economy and revenue model. We are well published. We have our white paper is in IEEE Communication Magazine, published in September in 2022. We have another white paper on the building blocks of cognitive internet that recently published in Springer's Future of Technology magazine, volume 3. We have been written a lot of articles around data robbery versus data privacy, both in terms of data rights and also in terms of the fake economy of data that we are dealing with today that led to social unrest and disinformation. Our company's pedigree comes from deep complex technology of wireless, telco, cloud, API, and mobile development. My co-founder and executive chairman, Siavash Alamuti, is the inventor of Alamuti code that is in every Wi-Fi and cellular device. They recently won the Marconi award because his invention in every Wi-Fi and cellular devices touched billions of devices and made wireless practical and affordable. My CTO comes from a background of CTO of communication sector at Microsoft, Vodafone, Apigee. So he's a TM Forum Fellow because 120 operators are using the APIs that he defined. I come from the background of technology, telco, Vodafone. I was the CEO for Vodafone Zone around collaboration with the startups and bringing solutions to market. So we come from that background. My board members include Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, Ori Sasan, the first chairman of VMware, and Alan Salmosi, the first president of wireless at Qualcomm. So we come from a kind of a complex tech, a first generation mobile internet world. And now we are pushing for the next, we're kind of saying that let's learn from the past mistakes we made in mobile internet era, some of the naivety that we thought that providing access to free information creates a better outcome versus disinformation. So let's correct those courses. And let's build a fair and equitable digital ecosystem. So I'm going to pause on that and open to any question.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Faye. That was, we're really grateful to have you here on the call and for you to share the vision of the future. There's such strong alignment with the work that we're doing at Kwaai. The notion of bringing AI down from the centralized, monopolized cloud services and distributing it at the edge, the notion of data privacy, and the notion of coming up with solutions that are smarter, faster, and greener. We're inspired by the electrical grid and how that's transformed since its original inception, where there was centralized generation. Now everyone can generate at the edge, and you've got a much more robust and stable grid. I wonder if you can expand on that a little bit and tell us, you talked about the energy efficiency. How do we get to that point where we have the AI infrastructure more distributed? What are the stepping stones?
I think it starts with us and the people on this call. So, you know, this is one of those things that I often say we need to change with one microservice at a time. You know, it's like we are developing applications, we are developing solutions. Obviously, the first kind of the behavior is that let's do what we're comfortable with. Let's start with kind of the cloud approach. Let's build a present server there. But this approach is an opportunity to look at every application that we have and say, okay, how can we actually refactor the application by introducing some of the microservice on device? This solution that I presented is ready, is available. It's actually, you can access it on our developer portal, developer.mimic.com. Create your account, and Memory is available for all operating systems. And we have some example code in GitHub, and we are very open and have the desire to work with the developer community, as I said, community like Kwaai, even donate or participate with some of the assets that we have. Our technology doesn't require network effect, by the way. It's not about let's make all the devices come and become available in the network in order for us to achieve this. We took a more pragmatic approach. We said even if there is one lonely application that you can transform one of its function into a microservice locally, you achieve, it's a first step toward the outcome.
Okay, that's fantastic, and we are a developer community. 80% of the membership of Kwaai are developers. The rest are split between research and policy. So I'm going to hit you up later on for participation in our Kwaai Summit, which is a developer summit. It's co-located with the Scale Conference, the Southern California Linux Expo. And last year we programmed their AI track. This year we're programming their AI track again, but it's scaled up a bit. And there's a hackathon as well. I can imagine, you know, your technology being the subject of a hackathon, or at least being introduced at the Scale Conference. You'll have an audience of 2,000 to 3,000 Linux developers, and so this will be an exciting opportunity.
Wonderful.
I've got two questions for you. What I'll follow up with you on the summit opportunity, but two questions. One is, how important is open source? That's the first question, and then the second question is, what is your view of the investment landscape, the investment trends for your technology domain? So two questions, and then I'll open it up to the rest of the audience to ask.
Okay, you ask a very good. I start with the second one. The investment community. I think the investment community majority are like fast fashion, you know, and they running after razzle dazzle. It used to be blockchain, then it was metaverse, and now it's AI. You know, and unfortunately, for our generation, that as I said, first generation of mobile internet, investors had a thesis-based investment. They were looking into, you know, complex, impactful technology type of a thing. Now it seems to be more about what is hot and where do I invest, and that creates a little bit of a not so pleasant situation, because entrepreneurs are kind of have to chase what is invested in and come up with that type of an idea versus what is important and invest there. So that's one issue. I think AI is here to stay, but majority of investment, unfortunately, is going to areas that are not necessary. I mean,
enterprise AI and SaaS.
enterprise AI, and you know, I was an article on the information that it was like out of the 300 investment, over 100 of them are belly up, and the massive. I mean, it was a mind-boggling, the data point. On the open source, I believe it's important, but I believe it's something, and we always look into how to participate in open source. But as a small company, we kind of stop there, you know. So I'm looking forward to working with you and the community to figure out a model there.
Fantastic. Okay, let's so people, you can put your hands up, raise a hand in order to ask a question of Faye, and I'm sure that they're burning questions from the stuff that's been presented here. Zachary, and then we'll go to AZ. So Zach first, you beat AZ to the punch.
My fingers. Well, Faye, thank you so much for that presentation. As Riza indicated, it really resonates with the work and the concept and the thought process that we have here at Kwaai. So thank you so much. As you're speaking, I'm poking around the Mimic documentation, right? Because I'm so curious about it, so I'm jumping right in. And my main question is this, here at Kwaai, we focus on the individual first, right? It's sort of a mantra, right? We no individual left behind, democratization of those services and of that possibility and potential. So the edge for the consumer is a very emergent field, right? Versus edge for enterprise. So I'm wondering, in terms of Mimic's focus or future roadmap or even thought process, where do you put the enterprise versus the consumer in your picture?
I think you remember we used to have bring your own device.
Mhm.
I think consumers' participation in the economy is going to be moving from individual consumer side to enterprise as well. So it's more like bring my own agent
Mhm.
into participation of enterprise. Where our focus is, we've started with enterprise mainly because that's, the market has been evolving. And I think the next ecosystem, I mean, mobile internet has started with consumer. I think agentic is starting with enterprise. But at the same time, in fact, we incubated 3 companies in consumer side that we can help them to develop their solutions and bring it to market. And they are right now, and actually it's between web only and a mobile kind of application only.
Yeah.
We're not an app company. We want to work with people who developing those consumer solutions to bring it to market, and we want to collaborate with them. I have a couple of ideas that I want to actually brainstorm with you guys and with Reza as well. I'm going to be in a neighborhood next week.
You're going to be in
So,
LA over the holiday period. I'd like to
yes,
sit down with you and figure that out, because we've got an internal project called Kwaai Net, which is the description of AI, of a digital public infrastructure of AI running in a distributed mesh. And we will talk more about that.
yes.
And maybe there's a way in which Mimic can participate in our work group. We can participate in yours. Maybe your hardware becomes the underpinning of how we demo this the concept of Kwainet. Okay, great. So AZ, your hand went up. Abbas Zaidi.
Yes. Hi, Faye. I put my question in chat. Basically,
Mhm.
yeah, where do you see the greatest return on effort in this new architecture that you have identified? And is bring your own AI the best input Kwaai can provide to consumers? Or what is an ideal scenario of collaboration with Kwaai that you can envision?
I think Reza mentioned right now about Net and kind of collaborating on driving maybe the next agentic social content solution into to the market. And actually, one of our portfolio companies has a solution that I was just thinking last night that we can bring it to this community and build the agentic version of it. That can be something exciting to create a kind of a faster ripple effect of having a solution that hit the consumer a sweet spot with their data, with their knowledge, and also create an interesting kind of a new social fabric.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks. So Justin, you're up next. AI Bry. There he goes. He goes by
Yeah,
AI.
thank you so much. I love the work on decentralization or democratization of this, because I think that, there's just some great alignment here, and that's why I know you're here. But yeah, my question is, what are your current thoughts? You mentioned kind of this edge AI and things like that. What are you looking at as far as like content distribution networks and how how you actually kind of conceive that network of caching on the edge?
Yeah. So we have an example application called Mimic Access. This is one of the first application that we actually developed in order to test our platform. And Access is about almost think of it as Dropbox meets Facebook across my devices. So instead of storing in cloud, I can give you a link on on a content on my iPhone to you, and I can just share a link with you, and you can view it. So I don't move the content from my device. I give you a link that you can access it. And I have access to all the content across my devices. So think of it today. One of the biggest recent lawsuit against OpenAI by a group of media distributor and outlet in Canada, that they say content belongs to us. Why are you doing learning? And that's true. Your content is there. So imagine I now have my content on my device. And when I participate in learning of that content, and I can associate a signature to that content, that if the content is used by AI and it gets transformed, eventually I need to receive a reference back on the monetization of money to it.
Yes.
So if we can start creating solutions like this and utilize those capabilities, we can register the content that we produce, and eventually, as it changes, I still participate in that economy. If I have a hammer and you get to use that hammer, you have to pay me something. Unless I say it's fine, and instead of paying me, give me a service, right? And I want to make one clarity. We're not a hardware company. We actually work with NVIDIA, NXP, TI. Our solution resides on top of any operating system. And you can build the application and put it on App Store. And when the user downloads it, it already has memory and microservices or AI agents in it. We also have some example AI-based chat applications on our developer portal as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look, this has been great. We're more than halfway through our day. Faye, I'm going to follow up with you when you're in Los Angeles. We will meet. I'm open over the holidays, so just hit me up. You've got my email address.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to our collaboration with your
okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Gosh, wasn't that fantastic? Okay, so Myra, you got the hard task of getting us back on schedule.
Sure. Let me see. Where is our slide for today? So I think we venture into the work group updates. Then let's talk about the new officers of the board, and then the wrap up.
And the new member voice is fantastic. Okay, so we are so close. I keep saying we're so close to getting the Pi assistant deployed in the data center. Roy, if you're there, or Cyan, if you're there, why don't you give us an update?
Yeah, for sure. So yesterday we have a meeting with Jeff. We have been working on finalizing the last enhancements on the images for the backend and front end for the Pi assistant. Roy has been working on these final details. We're hoping that we can deploy everything today at 3 p.m. I'm going to get in touch with Reza later today and Jeff. And right now, Roy is currently working on the final details. So if everything goes well, we will have everything deployed by 3 p.m. today.
I'm so thrilled. You know, it's just people should just have patience. This stuff takes time. It's a volunteer organization. We can't be held to the schedules of sort of the for-profit world, but it's happening. And I'm so thrilled. And I saw the pull request from Roy, so I know it's real. And looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Cyan. Thanks so much for the hard work from Arcus Nexus and the other volunteers. Thank you so much on working on the front end. Let's hear from the PiOS group. I know Sam is out. Sam's in Zurich, back-to-back meetings. Then he's off to Paris. But Patricia, if you're there, or who else? Mr. Binning, if you're there as well. And if not, I can give an update. If not, we can actually move to product management. And this morning we had a fantastic 8 o'clock. Who called for an 8 o'clock meeting? I didn't put my camera on. I crawled out of bed.
You know, Reza, everything happens on West Coast time, and we join your 7 p.m., 8 p.m. meetings. So now you know how it feels.
Okay, so let's see if
see there.
Greg Spector is on there. Hey Debbie, how you doing? If Greg is on, maybe you can give us an update of what was going on, or Greg or Yulia on the product management team. If not, I'm gonna speak for you. Great, they're not on the call. Okay, so we product management was stalled, frankly, for a good number of months. I challenged the product management team to not to be opinionated, to have a very strong opinion about what the next generation vision is for a personal assistant. What does it look like? What is the user experience? And many individuals, go to their comfort zone of creating long lists of features and prioritizing that. I'm looking for a vision, a deeply opinionated vision, not a something that is the result of a committee. If you get a committee working on it, on something, you'll end up with a mediocre compromise. It's rare that you get truly compelling user experiences and visions from a committee. You get it from an individual. So we've been looking for who is that individual. We got a few really opinionated people on within the group. Steve Vitka is one of them, and Steve will never spare you his opinion. He will always share it as widely. He'll not hold back, rather. And he's one. Yulia is another one. There are a few others. I know Greg is opinionated regarding project management, and there was a point where there was no product, but there was a lot of project going on. Now we've got a product vision that's been articulated, but Greg's using his leadership of project management and moving that description forward. So Yulia came up with the Amazonian 6-page description of the product. That was a key moment. So if anyone's interested in participating in that or seeing what's going on, the sausage making in the conception of what the next generation of the product is, go have a look at the Kwaai product management phase 2
It's in
Slack
the
channel.
canvas.
Yeah, it's in the canvas. Go look at that and look at the documentation and see what's going on. I'm quite excited at the progress. I came back upstairs and told Ruth I'm so excited about the progress of the product management, and it's interesting how you've just got to be patient. You got to be patient. Sometimes people get exasperated and they churn out because there's not progress going on. Stay around, hang in there. Stuff does move. And anyway, I'm going to get off that soapbox. Look, we've got time now. Let me dwell now on the year end and the officer elections. It would be interesting if you go and look at the website. There's a couple of updates on our website, and I'm going to see if I can find that. So go to have a look at the website. The about page is one that's worth looking at, and I'll share it with you if you don't have it. Share, click about, and here's the about page. Ask me about Kwaai. Well, you can ask the chatbot what is Kwaai, but if you go and look down here, it talks
Reza,
about.
I think you're sharing something else.
I'm sharing something else. Okay, let's not share that then. Let's go to here.
That's for
I
later.
like that. So nice. I saw it.
Is it? I'm going to stop. Oh, that's. Yeah. What am I sharing there? Gosh,
The branding.
that was the designs. Okay, so share. There we go. Okay, so who are these characters? So let's talk about who the officers are. This page has got 6 officer positions here, but let me talk about the bylaws. The bylaws actually describe 5 positions. Describes the chair, chair and CEO. The president position describes the vice president and the secretary, and also the treasurer. So we ran elections, and I stood again for the chair, and Afshin stood again for the president position. And I'm going to have Afshin say a few words in a second. Zachary stood for the vice president position, and Myra stood for the secretary position. Thanks so much for stepping up. These are require significant commitment of your time, so I'm really grateful for that. We do have some ceremonial positions. The chief intention officer is a ceremonial position for Doc Searles, and Doc's traveling at the moment, but he sends his regards. And then we've got the EMEA director, and that's Christian Randieri. But the board just elected or voted and endorsed the chair, the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer positions. So thanks so much. Thanks for let's see, giving us the responsibility. Thanks for to the board for endorsing those positions. I'm going to stop sharing there. Maybe we can have Afshin, who I see is on the call. Afshin, I wonder if you can give us your reflections on Kwaai, and maybe some thoughts about what are your priorities for next year.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, thanks for re-electing me. I mean, I'm not as able to make as many of the meetings since the day job, of course. But yeah, I remember when Riza first approached me, was it June 2023? Something like that. So yeah, it was a great idea, and then now it's really quickly, rapidly turned into what we see here. So it's really nice. I mean, what the product's going to be launched. So obviously, my goal is more science-oriented and education and research side. Since I'm not a developer, but developer side, I'm learning from all you guys. So, I mean, a couple of things that I would want to push is the Pi assistant. There's some initiatives I'm doing, which I'm thinking, talking to Riza yesterday, to be able to integrate this into that. So maybe you might be getting a lot more exposure soon in the next year. So we'll see. And yeah, and I think
tell us about your education initiative. What's it called?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, probably most of you know, I'm a professor at University of Pittsburgh, but also I'm the director of the Space Biomedicine Center I'm setting up there. And one thing I'm trying to do is harmonize education for space biomedicine in the entire world. And I have a large network of people I work with and know a lot of people. So, people teach these courses about space biomedicine in their various universities, but there's not one expert, not one person has the expertise in the entire field. So the key is to bring everyone together and be able to experts truly teach the course, and it'll be hybrid and online, where they will be teaching across different institutions that partner with us at Pittsburgh, and then eventually there'll be the same students get the same course no matter if you're at Harvard or Pitt or Oxford, some of the universities that are part of this. So then
Okay. Yeah.
the idea would be then to have the course line somewhere. We could use the Pi assistant to put it into that, so then all these universities and students could be able to access our material through, the Pi assistant that you guys are creating. So.
And then, Afshin, you also are working with Dave Waterbury and coordinating the grant application. Tell us about that process. And you've got a whole grant organization at University of Pittsburgh.
Well, it's not a grant organization. I mean, all universities, you apply for grants normally through that, right? So, I mean, that's something probably most of you haven't dealt with because that's different career paths, right? So, if you're a university, of course, in faculty there, a lot of your money comes from money. You might want to apply for grants and get money to fund your own research. So, with Kwaai, until we've established ourselves as a entity in the academic grant eyes, we have to probably submit grants with partnering with various institutions and universities that already have a track record of, getting grants or have publications in the field. So one thing that for grants, we can actually go through me in Pittsburgh and apply for grants, and then that'll be Kwaai will be a, like Riza will be a co-investigator on the grant with Kwaai as the institution behind it. And then once we start getting a track record of that, let's say we start getting more and more grants, then then Kwaai will have a track record and could be independently apply for grants. And Kwaai could independently apply for grants now, but the issue is reviewers will look at it and say, these guys, sure, they might have a good idea, but there's no track record there, so it's like anything else. You need to, in this field, you have to establish your track record, and then eventually the people will recognize that, as opposed to the field. Kwai's already established in the AI community, but that's a whole different structure, infrastructure, and field. So to get in the grant business, like, once we get the couple of first few grants, that's what we'll really take take on.
Fantastic. Okay, Afshin, thanks so much. Thanks for stepping up for another term of office. I'm going to ask Zachary to come on camera and say a few words about the motivation for the vice president candidacy and what his plans are for next year.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everybody in the community and the executive team. It's an honor, number one, and it is quite a responsibility, I feel, because Kwaai is near and dear to my heart. So really the motivation is something that I've been working on in my own world, right, in my own startup for the past 2 years. And that is the ability to launch an individual's personal AI network, to have sovereign data control, and to leverage that data as currency. So it's really interesting, the presentation this morning, because that concept is becoming pervasive, and that comes from Doc and from many other prolific thinkers, and authors out there. So my plans for 2025 are to help the community actualize itself, to bring more continuity, bring more leadership, bring more tools, bring more automation, bring more services, as much as we can accomplish, to enable every work group to be autonomous, and to enable those work groups to really draw upon the incredible minds and skills that are in this community. It's a tall order, but I think we can do a lot together.
Right. Okay. Thanks so much. Zach, I'm looking forward to working with you on actualizing all of the aspirations of Kwaai. I'm going to ask Myra. Myra, thanks so much. You do so much in the background already, and thanks so much for formally stepping up and taking on the secretary role. What are your thoughts about 2025?
Well, first, I want to say thank you, even though it wasn't much of an election.
Yes.
But I'm really excited. And what I've always loved about Kwaai is the whole democracy of it. So I want to make sure that we sustain and foster that. I want to make sure that we're transparent in all the decisions and the steps that we take. And I'm very committed to making sure that we keep our data safe, and everyone who's working within Kwaai and their data safe. And a little bit of my QA background also comes into it, which is, to make sure that what we put out and what we are encouraging and engaging people to use in terms of our assistant actually delivers on what's promised, so that it is safe, and it is private, and it is helpful, and it is in the interest of the individual, and not necessarily catering to big corporations and everything. But most of all, I really want to help build community and camaraderie at Kwaai. I want to be able to hear from everyone. I want everyone to be able to participate and just build on that. Been part of this since the beginning. I want to say the first or second Friday call, and as soon as I heard about your vision and what you wanted to do, Riza, I was 100% on board. So happy to be here, happy to continue.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Myra. Myra, why don't you call on new member voices?
Yeah, I think I saw Jonathan. I'm not sure if I've heard of or Jonathan before?
I think Jonathan's new. Jonathan, you need to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, Jonathan.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Lakabe. I'm a junior at Chatsworth Charter High School in Chatsworth, California, so the Valley region of Los Angeles.
What brings you here?
Well, I learned about Kwaai pretty recently. I was discussing with one of your project coordinators some attributes of what you guys are doing here at Kwaai, because I'm interested in cryptographic systems, specifically encryption. And I heard that one key attribute that you guys are working on is homomorphic encryption systems.
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
that's what I want to work in. I'm
Fantastic.
very
Come and
interested in that.
come and join the group. We're working on confidential vector search, and that includes a partial homomorphic encryption. And we want to open source it. So because it's going to be such a key component of zero trust distributed AI that we can't afford to lock down the IP and so come and join the group.
And Jonathan, have you signed up on the Kwaai sign up page? If
I submitted an application for volunteer.
Awesome. I'll
Great.
add you to Slack and then you can be part of all the groups.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so normally we have our idea exchange.
Yes. I will put the link in.
And you're going to put the link in the chat. And if we got a couple more minutes, if anyone wants to say a few words, we've got some familiar faces that haven't spoken in a long time. Rob, Aaron, you've not spoken in a while.
Rita.
Yeah, and Liam Broza, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi all, how's it going?
Hey Liam, it's we met a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, it seems. Yeah. So
I've had a lot of progress. I've been building something of my own. I'd love to show the group maybe next week or so before I go premiere it at CES. But yeah, we just had some massive progress on a few things. So
do you want to take the 27th slot and be the guest speaker on the 27th?
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm around.
Hey.
Yeah, it would be a good preview before I go in front of hundreds or thousands of people. So
fantastic, it's yours. Okay, and Myra's going to make it so. Fantastic. Okay, look, we got a minute left. I see. I don't know who else. I don't know if they're real people or they are note takers. Okay, but good. We'll see you on the idea exchange, which follows straight after this.
Yep. And that's in the Slack now. Oh, sorry. I sent it as a direct message to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat. There we go. Okay, so people you can just click on that now before this Zoom call goes away, and then you can join if you want to. And in the idea exchange, it's an hour. Sometimes it goes longer. It's where we drill deeper into some of the subjects that we've covered. Typically, we take the guest speaker subject and we add maybe one or two more subjects we discuss in more detail. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. If I don't speak to you again, have a great holiday. We are going to have the call on the 27th, but if you're not there, that's fine. And have a great holiday and have a great new year, and happy Kwaai Day.
Happy Kwaai Day.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.